In this video, we'll be talking about why this chart at this point is the most important for us to be looking at in the markets right now. We'll also be talking about our technical analysis levels for the Nasdaq, SP500, AMC, GME, Tesla, gold, and more. Yesterday, the squeeze was on, and I've got to say, you guys truly have those diamond hands. I might have a little bit of paper compared to you, but there's plenty to go through, and we're next for the stock markets because it's green, it's bullish, and things are certainly moving. Stay tuned. All right, guys, well, let's get into this video. Let's talk about yesterday's performance in the markets. Now, a little bit lackluster in some of the big tech. We had Microsoft, Apple, Google, Amazon all down. Facebook, our favorite of the big FANG stocks, was up, and that's been up pretty consistently. But we did see this unveiling of more spending in the US, and that led to some demand through some of the other sectors. Financials came back strongly and others. But I think the two interesting sectors yesterday were hyper stonks and, per usual, these squeeze stocks that have been going incredibly long. I mentioned and alluded to the AMC train. My goodness, it got through 20. I told you I had no idea where it goes next. And I was thinking like $25. You guys pushed it 25 plus. It ended at 26 plus yesterday. Phenomenal stuff. We'll take a look at that soon. IWM, 1% up. Dow Jones up 0.41 and S&P 500 up 0.12. Basically, flat looking day because what was happening was bigger tech was moving down. That was dragging on most of the main indices, while IWM, the smaller caps, they really went very, very strong throughout the session. We've, of course, got all of the sector indices here, and you'll notice XLI, XLF, XLB, all big beneficiaries of the spend coming through in the US, and XLK down the bottom with utilities. Really, utilities has been incredibly disappointing, and I would continue to think that it is going to be disappointing for the months ahead. It's more of a mid to late cycle investment. You've got to know about your investment cycles, and you can do so by following the channel here at FX Evolution. Now, let's have a look at this. Salesforce, Costco came out yesterday. Snowflake had a return yesterday, and that actually went negative in the morning, then super positive by the end of the day. I think the switch was about 12% bottom to top. Phenomenal moves there in some of the hyper stocks. Costco and Salesforce came out last night, and that probably ends this week in terms of earnings. We obviously saw some big ones this week, Nvidia, Snowflake, Salesforce, but not as big as other previous weeks, and it's not as consequential to the markets. This continues to be why I believe we did a big turnaround. Call options came straight out of the market. They've been declining now for months. I think this is a huge reason why the stock markets and hyper stocks are back, because retail's calls got expired. It's time for Wall Street to say, hey, we knocked that stock down 60%. Maybe it's worth a little bit more than that. Maybe it is, and they're going to now push it around, and that is where we're having big movements in the markets. Let's get started in the technical analysis. We'll get started on the US dollar, one of the most important for us to be looking at. Check out this. Our trend line on the way down is still getting tested. We don't have clear direction here. Which direction does the US dollar want to go? Does it want to go long? Does it want to go short? We should know in the next 24 hours. If this fails and it goes more low, that's of course good for risk on in the markets. If this makes a new high and tops out past, what is this level, around 90.20, then I expect we are actually in some serious US dollar strength for a little while here. That could also affect the markets negatively, especially gold and silver trades. Speaking of other things that could affect the market negatively, we've got the US 10-year Treasury yields here. They're at a point where support is becoming resistance. Now, you know I don't care about this over the long to medium term of investment. I believe that this US 10-year Treasury will be at 1.95 at some point over the next 12 months. However, if it goes, we do know that it has a correlation with the US 100, the Nasdaq, where it causes negative market sentiment. So if that does occur, it could create buying opportunities for the longer term, but just remember where we are. We're right in support coming into the Memorial weekend, the long weekend. Usually the Friday is a green day. Thursday ended up smidging out of green. Possibly we have another nice green day coming into Memorial Day weekend. Let's now go through gold because the dollar index is strengthening. Gold starting to kind of hover around and find some issues. It is continuing to buy off our key zone that we have identified together. The 1890, 1888 zone continues to be bought off. It needs to find stability here. And I'm actually going to go with I want a closure above this point here, 1903. And you may say, but Tom, then it's going straight into resistance at 1910. I kind of feel like we get a closure above 1903, 1904. We're going to go to 1930, which is the next resistance zone. So I would love to see this thing bounce off here today. In the Friday session, we basically go long off this area, and then we can move up to our 1930 resistance and hopefully then to the 1960 resistance. I believe we're going to need weak US dollar to get this through. We move over to silver, similar kind of thing. We've got a bit of a trend line here forming with some bullishness. We go down into the 8 hour and you'll see it's hovering around that support. We need to get above 28 on the daily close. And if we do so, then we can start to move forward quite aggressively and hopefully move on through to the next level. So the next level will be around 30 bucks. Big movements for silver could be very possible. US oil, we can finally celebrate oil. Black gold fans, 66.50. You took it out. You did well. Here it is. You can see how important this zone is. We've closed above, and this closure allows now the next level to potentially be seen. I would love to see the weekly as well close above the 66.50. If that does occur, then I think we can move on to the 75.76 zone. Look at this free space we have here. Such an important level, guys. We got 2019 highs, basically end of 2019, 2020 highs. Then we've got 21 again. Do you know what happens here? Hopefully, participation phase. We get energy picking back up, and we can move towards 75, 76. One thing I can say is that when the mainstream media starts talking about something, most of the move is usually over. Let's move over here to BTC. What's going on with Bitcoin? Still finding a little bit of support off our little trend line. We need this thing to bounce, and we probably need to bounce fairly quickly. 40,800, unable to break or even get close to it yesterday. We're still struggling around this 40K level in general. Until we feel comfortable that this whole shorting, selling nastiness is over, it won't be until we get past 42,000 on BTC. And if we have a look at Ethereum, it's going to be a similar kind of action. We're basically looking for it to go through 3,000. You'll notice Ethereum is a better chart though. See how it's finding support consistently off this level here, off this zone of around 2,700. As long as that keeps holding, that's great news. And I would love to see this thing coil here and then bounce on through the 3,000. That's going to be very strong for the crypto market. Let's move over to the stock market now. And do I need to say any more? Wow, 26.52 with a high. That's right, a high of 29.84. AMC, my God, it actually was 29.76 I'm reading here, but this was a huge move. What a massive short squeeze. It's going to be a super interesting Friday. We'll be running a live stream 1.5 hours early before the New York session open. But that is a phenomenal move, guys. You took it all the way to what I thought was the peaking zone. I thought 25, then 30. You did it in one day. You went 20 all the way basically to $30. I'm not sure how to interpret this chart now because basically it's not technical. It's just how long can you squeeze it for. GME started coming through as well. Nice close at the 254. Next level here from a technical standpoint, about 280. And then, of course, the magical 350-ish zone just underneath 350. So there are some targets on GME, but on AMC, unbelievable stuff. Getting it through that zone. Surely there are many short sellers feeling the pain today. They are running around like headless chickens. They don't know what to do, and they're borrowing from all their friends because they're in serious trouble. Let's see if they can even deliver anything that they have short sold. Wow, I would be scared if I was AMC short sellers right now. Let's move over to Tesla. Another great trade here. We correctly identified this together as a community. Well done, guys, again. 595, 600 was closed against with this candle. We got the retest of the 200 daily. That's this green line. And boom, here we go to the devil line, guys. 666. That's the aim for the Tesla traders. Another strong day, another 1.89%. May look small compared to AMC traders, but you know what? It's still good. It's still good. And we're moving towards the 666. You can't always have AMC style trades, can you? Let's move over to the major indices now. Nasdaq, struggling with our key red zone. Support, resistance. This 13.750, 13.7 zone is a problem here for the Nasdaq. You can see how it's coiling underneath. That's not an issue for me. I would love to see a closure above here. In fact, I almost put this as the most important chart for us to be looking at right now. But we've trapped the zone in between these two areas. And if we get a close above this 13,750, I actually feel like we can go all the way to 14K. It's that simple. Close above real market. This is the NDX. At the time of recording of this video, the US 100 is trading around 13,695. So pretty similar kind of zone. We need to go with 13,750 plus closure. Bam, let's go 14,000 on the Nasdaq. It's that simple. The double bottom's in play, and we're going to be looking for it. We go over to the SP 500. Again, no new high yesterday. Bit unfortunate. We need to go higher than this, 42,1296 on the real market. If we move over to the futures market, you'll notice it has closed high already. If it holds this in the real market, that is bullish sign, and I believe we go back to retest the 42.40, 42.50, if not new highs. In fact, the prediction here, I think, was that we would go the whole distance of this move, and this move here was going to predict into around a 4,300 plus. So going back to our trend line, our community trend line, all the good stuff, everything's kind of coming through. It's all working in synergies together. And I'll show you guys the community trend line here. Some people may not have seen it yet. Basically, the community trend line goes through all of these highs. And you'll notice it's been very good at predicting resistance levels. So if we do now crack higher, where do we go? Somewhere around this 43.20. Find some resistance there and potentially start selling off a little bit, or at least coming back down to a moving average of some sort. Things are looking bullish into the long weekend. Hopefully you guys can join us 1.5 hours early for the Friday session. It's going to be a lot of fun. Make sure to click the links in the Discord, links down below if you want to join the public Discord. We also have a private community with hundreds of members in it. If you're ever willing to come on in there, you can try the 7-day trials, a lot of good stuff. And I wish each and every one of you the best through the trading session. It's been a great week. I think the last 2 weeks we've really pulled the cat out of the bag from a technical analysis standpoint. I'm always excited when the market gets more technical. And also, how about that Airbnb, guys? Anyone in the live stream, we were talking about that one yesterday. Whew, that was some big moves. It actually smashed through the resistance during the session. All right, everyone, we'll see you tonight, or we'll see you on the weekend with another video. Thanks so much to all the subscribers out there. Speak to you soon, guys. Bye for now.